What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome you today to a Bleacher Report article reaction, and today we are going to be reacting to NBA superstars on trade watch this offseason. It was written by Grant Hughes on July 1st, so this did come out yesterday. So we're going to be reacting to these guys, and then if there's anybody else that I think should be on the trade watch, I'll mention at the end of the video after we go through all the players mentioned, and then I'll say, okay, if there was a player mentioned that I don't think will be on trade watch, I'll let you guys know, because I'm pretty sure there was somebody in the thumbnail of this that I'm like, no, he is not getting traded. That why are we even talking about this? So we'll get to that when that time comes. If you guys do enjoy these videos, drop a thumbs up. I'd be appreciative of that. I'll be trying to drop a lot more content here on the channel. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to upload yesterday, but I'm hoping to get back with the daily uploads on the channel. So I'll leave a link to the article in the description below, like always. Let's get into this. So the first one we have is Ben Simmons. This one is very clear. It's very obvious. I think he's probably one of the more given all-stars that will be traded this offseason. Honestly, if you're looking at all the all-stars that could potentially be traded, he's probably the one that's most likely. Either he could end up in Minnesota, he could end up in Portland, he could end up in Sacramento, he could end up in Dallas, he could end up, I don't know, in New York. Now, I'm just, no, not New York, but I'm trying to think of, like, teams that aren't like a Damian Lillard trade that he'll end up on. Like, Minnesota makes some sense with D'Angelo Russell. I mean, the Thunder could offer Kemba Walker and a couple first-round picks if they wanted to. It's not like they have another veteran like a Danny Green that the Sixers would want for Ben Simmons, because it's like, where is his value at? I think after we move on from the playoffs, teams will still see his value, an all-star player, and all NBA defensive player, a potential defensive player of the year winner, a great facilitator, just maybe not a point guard that can space the floor for you, obviously. So maybe everyone will see that and be like, okay, his value's still high, because after the playoffs, everyone's like, yeah, you might get Buddy Hield for it, right? So I would say that he could end up in Minnesota for D'Lo. He could be in a Kemba Walker trade. I think that's really it that I think could possibly happen for Simmons. I would like to see a Denver trade, but they just don't have the assets, in my opinion. Like, to keep Murray, Porter Jr., and Jokic centered around Aaron Gordon. I don't think that could happen, but I would love that. Pelicans, no, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have Simmons and Zion spacing-wise, even if you're running Simmons at the 5. Hornets with LaMelo, I don't really know if they have the assets to. I mean, Terry Rozier for Ben Simmons, they might think about that. So I really think, like, Minnesota should go all in on Ben Simmons and offer D'Lo, offer Josh Okogie. Try to keep Malik Beasley if you can, because then you can, I guess, have Rubio or sign a point guard in the offseason. That point guard, then you have Beasley, Edwards, Simmons, Towns. Hey, that's something in the Western Conference. So, yeah, Simmons, I think, is the most likely star to get traded this offseason. Next up, we have Damian Lillard. It could go two ways, right? It could be if Damian Lillard requests a trade, and it could be if he doesn't request a trade, because I don't believe he will get traded if he doesn't request a trade. They're going to try to do things with Chauncey Billups, and if they were going to make a big move, it involved Yusuf Nurkic or CJ McCollum, because if he doesn't request a trade, he's going to stay. If he does, I really think there's only one team that makes sense out there, and it is the Philadelphia 76ers, because teams that are going to pay the premier price for Lillard that we saw for, like, a greater deal than Drew Holiday, what we saw for Harden, what we saw for Anthony Davis, you're going to have to gut your roster a little bit. You're going to have to give up 3 key players at least to get Damian Lillard. And I think the Sixers are one of the only teams that can give up 3 key players and still be title contenders next year. Because they could trade Simmons, they could trade Maxey, they could trade Thibault, and then they could roll out Damian Lillard at the 1, Seth Curry at the 2. They could have Robert Covington if they ask for him in a trade at the 3, or you could have Danny Green or Shake Milton. Obviously, maybe not Shake Milton. And then at the 4, you have Harris. At the 5, you have Embiid. That's good enough to win the Eastern Conference next year, 100%. Because now you're actually taking the load and the pressure off Embiid with somebody who's arguably the clutchest player in the NBA at the moment when it matters. So I think Philly makes a lot of sense because it's still a big market, and Dame will be able to contend. Like, if he goes to New York, big market, the Knicks got their roster is a duo of Julius Randle and Damian Lillard beating Milwaukee, Brooklyn, or Philly. No, not at all. So that wouldn't really make a lot of sense unless the Knicks got Kawhi Leonard, right? So that doesn't really make a lot of sense. The Pelicans, even if it's Dame and Zion, doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it's not really a big market. Golden State is a team that'd be able to contend, but I don't know if Portland would ever want to trade Damian Lillard to Golden State after kind of them knocking them out of the playoffs a lot and them being in the same conference, because I mean the package you'd get is probably 7-14 Wiseman, Wiggins, and then 2 firsts in the future, maybe Pascal as well, and then the Warriors would be able to construct a roster of Curry, Lillard, Clay, I don't know, Draymond and somebody and like Jordan Poole out there once. They would obviously need more size. Maybe they look at that in free agency or the buyout market eventually. But that's a team that could maybe give a good package and still be able to contend. But that's kind of it. You're looking at, like Dallas could gut their roster completely with KP, Brunson, Green, and then every first round pick and swap they could possibly trade. I still don't think that. I mean, Damon Luka could probably go all the way, but you'd have to find some studs to put around them that are going to be on some cheap deals, like Jeff Green, you know. Miami would be interesting, but no way does Tyler Hero have that value anymore. So it's really tough. So that's why I think it's really Philly. Philly's inevitable at this point. I mean, Toronto could maybe offer an interesting package around Anunoby, Boucher, pick 4, and multiple firsts in the future. And then you got Dame, Siakam, and Van Vliet. I mean, maybe that could possibly work. I don't think so, though. I really think Philly is the best possible offer. Boston does have an intriguing offer if they were to offer Jaylen Brown. If they were able to keep Smart and they could offer Jaylen Brown, they can offer, I guess, Robert Williams and then, like, multiple firsts. So then they could still have, like, Peyton Pritchard, they would have Damian Lillard, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and then maybe somebody they could possibly add in the offseason. That could be something, you know, going into their season next year. Or maybe they would have to, maybe they can keep Robert Williams and throw in Nesmith and Langford, and you can have, like, Al Horford and Robert Williams in your front court, and then you have Lillard, Smart, Tatum. I mean, that makes you better. That definitely makes you better. I prefer that over having Jaylen Brown, even though Jaylen Brown is younger, because I think a duo of Tatum and Lillard could beat the Brooklyn Nets. I honestly think so. So next up, we have Zion Williamson. Yeah, this was the picture on the article. No, what? He is not getting traded. The likelihood of a Zion Williamson going anywhere this offseason is exceptionally small, but he's a big enough name to at least warrant a mention here. Yeah, I know his family, whatever, like, wants to see... Why? He's 2 years in the league. People should not have this much say. He's 21 years old or 20 years old. Well, like, it's not him that's saying this. So I'm not hating on Zion, but, like, his campers, family, like, what are we doing? Look how embarrassing it is for Marvin Bagley over there when his brother and his dad are saying stuff, right? But now, like, come on. We don't need to do that for Zion. He's been 2 years in the league. It's not like they've been a dumpster fire. Yes, they've been disappointing, but it's not like they've been a dumpster fire and they've been treating him like garbage and the trainers have been bad. So I disagree with this. He's not going anywhere, at least for the next 4 years, I would say. Maybe 2 years into his rookie max extension, he can get traded because he's got 2 years left on his team deal. Then he's going to get that $40 million probably a year max rookie extension or $35 million. And then maybe a year or two in that, he could be like, okay, I want out. But he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's got probably at least 3, maybe 4 more years before he would actually request a trade with the Pelicans. If, like, that was even going to happen, but I don't think Zion wants to get traded at all. Next up, Kemba Walker. This one seems like it could go 2 ways. You could have a team like the Lakers or the Sixers or the Heat go in and get Kemba Walker, give up an asset to get him out of OKC, who technically, like, they don't need him because they're going to be bad again next year, so they'd like to get more first-round picks for him, you know. But they could go the Chris Paul route. He can have a great season there in OKC. He can lead them to, like, the 9th or 10th seed, overachieve there, you know, maybe be in the play-in tournament, have a good season efficiency-wise, maybe kind of go back to his Hornets days, build up the trade value, and then move him next year. But I think if you're OKC, I don't want that. I want to be in the top 5 lottery again next year to possibly land a Ben Sherrill, Baldwin, Hardy, Davison, Holmgren, one of those guys, and keep building that young core. But, because if Kemba's going to win you, like, or get you from, say, the 13th seed to the 10th seed, I don't want that. I would want to trade him right now, even if it's for 2 second-round picks. I think I'd value that, but I think they can get a first-round pick for Kemba Walker from a good team, so like a late first-round pick. Because, I mean, if it's Philly, I don't think they can't get to Kemba's contract with keeping their big 3. Like, I was like, oh, if they move Danny Green, but they wouldn't want to even move Seth Curry. So, honestly, unless they worked out like a side trade with Shake Milton, then I could get him there. But why would they want to pay Shake Milton a lot of money? Like $15-20 million a year, you know? So, yeah, I mean, if you can get Ben Simmons, hell yeah, if you could trade it for him. If you can get, like, Tyler Hero, yeah, I would do that. If you can get Kyle Kuzma and, I don't know, the rights to THT, even though he's restricted. We'll see who signs THT. But I think that a team will trade for Kemba Walker this offseason. Denver would be interesting. No, never mind. No, they wouldn't. So next up we have, or even like Cleveland. I don't think they would trade Sexton for him, right? But if I were OKC, I would definitely do that. And then Pascal Siakam's the final one. Yeah, he'll be 31 at the end of his contract. I know the Warriors have been interested in him. If you offer them Wiggins, because the Canadian connection, he'd probably be able to sell a lot of jerseys for you there. Wiseman, who was just the 2nd overall pick a year ago, still a solid young talent, even though he didn't have the greatest rookie year. And then you have 7-14. it's a good package for Siakam in return. I know Siakam's a good player, and I don't know, because Van Vliet and Siakam, I guess, are similar in age. Van Vliet a little bit younger. But you have Boucher, who you can have at the 4. You can put Wiseman at the 5. You'd have Anunoby and Wiggins on your wing. You draft Jalen Suggs at 4. And then you also have 7 and 14, so then you can add you can add a Davion Mitchell. And then you can add, like, a shooter off the bench or an Alperen Sengun. And then also, you would clear up a lot of cap space with this trade, possibly. So, I guess not, because Wiggins is making a lot of money. I don't know, but Wiggins has got 2 years left. Siakam might have the same, or he has 3 years left. But then Siakam will be 31. Wiggins, I think, is still 2 years younger than Siakam, and he was 2 drafts before. Or he's a year younger. Yeah, Siakam is, he's 27, okay. I think he'll be 31 at the end of his contract. I mean, it's really the direction Toronto wants to go. If they think they can compete with the core they have now, and then losing Kyle Lowry, adding Jalen Suggs, then it makes sense. If not, then I would maybe think about moving him now, because the Warriors can offer a nice package. But yeah, that is going to be for me. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. Any other superstars that I think could be on the trade watch this offseason, I think you definitely have to consider Kristaps Porzingis. You got to consider CJ McCollum. And then those are the 2 ones I'd probably throw out there that could potentially get traded this offseason. So yeah, let me know what you guys think by dropping a thumbs up. Let me know what you also think down below. I love you guys. See you all on the next one. Peace.